We begin today with a true triple threat. The one, the only, Ricky Martin is here. We know him, of course, as the Grammy Award-winning musician and entertainer, but he is now taking a dramatic turn in the new series, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story. You know American Crime Story? They did People vs. O.J. Simpson. Now they're doing this. The series has generated all sorts of buzz and controversy, but before we get to that, let's take a look back at the murder of an icon. It was a murder that captivated the world.
Gianni Versace, the 50-year-old fashion designer, was shot dead outside his Miami Beach mansion.
The gunman, Andrew Philip Cunanan, was already on the FBI's most wanted list for killing 4 other men across the country. On the morning of July 15th, 1997, Cunanan shot Gianni Versace twice in the head on the front stairway of the designer's home. The motive remains unclear. 8 days later, Cunanan took his own life. Now, over 2 decades later, the story is being told in the latest season of FX's American Crime Story.
He was a creator, he was a genius.
Featuring an all-star cast, including Penelope Cruz, Edgar Ramirez, and Ricky Martin. The series delves deep into the mind of the killer, showing the madness behind the murder. Chilling. Please welcome Ricky Martin. It was chilling. It was chilling to watch.
It is chilling, but it's really, I mean, of course, it has moments of darkness. My first scene as I walked on set for the first time was to shoot the scene where I actually find his body.
They didn't give you any chance to warm up a little.
Warm up what? No rehearsals. Let's go straight into it. But I guess filming in the actual home, in the actual villa in Miami Beach helped a lot. The energy was there. Mm-hmm. It's full of ups and downs. It's dark at times, but it's very sexy at other times, and it's very glamorous, and
as was his world. That was his world.
Just like and I must say, Ryan Murphy did an outstanding job, and the entire production on bringing the era. You know, it's been 20 years, and you see it, and you fly to the 90s.
So let me ask you, because when I look back at this story and the days and the year leading up to Gianni Versace's death, to me it's a story of obsession, and obviously mental illness on the part of Andrew Cunanan. What do you think the story is about?
The story is about things that we need to talk about. We're going to bring subjects to the table, and I'm sure that, you know, we're going to talk about homophobia. We're going to talk about, actually, we're going to spend a lot of time with Darren, and we're going to see his chain of thought. What turned him into a serial killer, which I think is something very important that needs to talk about. But
Darren, who plays Andrew Cunanan, the
he
murderer.
plays the killer, Andrew Cunanan. He did an outstanding job. You see him, and it's like, I don't know you, man. It is scary. That, I mean, he had to do some really dark scenes.
Because Cunanan was a serial killer. People may forget, he had killed 4 other people by the time he murdered Gianni Versace. And was a master of disguise and was a pathological liar. But
Brilliant, genius.
Right, like 147 IQ.
IQ, yeah.
But the series does an excellent job of sort of pulling you into some of his madness. And
which you have to be careful.
Showing you how dark he was.
Yes, but I think it's important for you to see, because he is yin and yang. He's the darkness. Gianni Versace in his creativity world is the light of the series. So we take you from one to the other, and I think it's a fascinating way for you to be able to see the nine episodes.
They had a chance encounter 7 years earlier in a bar in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. It meant probably nothing to Gianni Versace. It wound up meaning everything to Andrew Cunanan.
And he got stuck.
And all these years later, he goes on this killing spree, and he was on the FBI's most wanted list at the time he murdered Versace. There's a real question about why that wasn't better publicized in Miami.
It's not why he died. It's not how he died. It's why did we allow it to happen? Andrew Cunanan was living in Miami Beach, not hiding. and the FBI never found him. And that's my anger. I mean, actually, when Ryan Murphy invited me to be part of this project, I said, I want to be part of this because the level of injustice that the LGBT community was struggling with, we still struggle with a lot, but the fact that they just look the other way, he's killing gay men, he's a gay man killing gay men, don't pay attention to it. And look who we lost. We lost one of the biggest legends and icons of fashion.
It was. I want to talk about that because that's a theme of the series that hasn't really been exposed that much when you talk about Versace's murder. But he was hiding in plain sight. He went into one of the men he had killed was from Chicago. He had stolen some gold, a gold coin from him. He went into a pawn shop, signed his own name, gave him his own thumbprint, said exactly the hotel he was staying at, and still the FBI did not get him. Did not get him. This is before
unfair.
he had
It's
killed
the saddest
Versace.
thing. Yeah.
So talk about that, the homophobia and how that's exposed in the telling of this tale.
Well, obviously, the way FBI treated the crime was full on homophobia. I also my storyline with Gianni, we deal with homophobia. And unfortunately, after 15 years living with Gianni Versace, Antonio D'Amico, which is the character that I play with, when Gianni died, he ended up with nothing. Unfortunately, his family was not happy with him. And in fact, his family would beg Gianni not to ever come out of the closet. They would say, if you come out of the closet, this is the end of your empire. And this is also something that we're dealing with at the moment. When I came out of the closet, a lot of people that I love told me, Ricky, if you come out of the closet, this is the end of your career. Not, I'm still here.
You're the last laugh on that
So it is a very important point that we need to talk about. I mean, love is love is love, and love manifests. And for me, I talked to Antonio D'Amico himself, and he was so generous and so open. Of course, it must have been really hard for him to relive everything. But I said, Antonio, I just want to make justice to your love.
This is actually, I think, a credit to you because he was upset about a preview or something that he had seen about a scene in which you, playing him, hold the body of Gianni Versace after he'd been shot. And he said, this may be poetic license on the part of the filmmaker, but this is not what I actually did when Gianni was murdered. This is his 15-year lover, his partner in life, who's saying no. And you wound up reaching out to him personally.
Yes, I called him, of course, part of the research, but when he saw the paparazzi shot, he was like, you don't do that. I couldn't, that felt like La Pietà. You cannot hold him. And I'm like, Antonio, I asked to hold the body. That was my choice as an actor, and Ryan Murphy, who was directing, allowed me to. I think it was something that I needed to do. Remember, this is not a photo of the event. This is a painting. With the paint, we can add colors and erase colors, but the only thing that he was really angry about is that I was using a green shirt. I would never use a green shirt. I was always dressed in black and behind backs. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna talk to Ryan Murphy now. It's okay.
I want to pick up on what you just said, which is what happened between him and the Versace family, despite what was in Gianni Versace's will, despite how he tried to provide for his life partner. And when we come back, we will hear from the real-life Antonio D'Amico on the moment he heard the gunshots, and more with Ricky Martin.
I heard the shot. My heart stopped to beat. Something said to me, something happened. Anyway, so I ran out and I saw Gianni lay down on the stairs in the blood.
That was Antonio D'Amico, Gianni Versace's longtime partner, talking to Dateline's Keith Morrison about the day world-famous designer Gianni Versace was murdered right in front of his Miami home. Ricky Martin plays D'Amico in the powerful new series, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story. You can feel his pain, and his love with Gianni was very real. It's shocking to know that the Versace family, who I should point out, they don't like this series. They've pushed back saying it's a work of fiction and it hasn't been authorized. We have nothing to do with it. But the truth is that the family did not do right by Antonio after he died.
Well, I must say that this series is based on an investigational book. Maureen Orth, she went and investigated everything that went on. And when I talked to Antonio, I said, Antonio, I just want to do justice to your love. I want you to talk to me about your relationship with Gianni. How was it? And he was extremely generous and very open. And like I said, to relive everything must have been very difficult for him. But he was, thank you, Ricky. Thank you. Number one, I needed to hear your voice. And then we kind of like became friends because how intimate we have to get to actually get to this. I'm going to be a journalist now, I said. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna dig in deep. I want to feel what you were feeling for 15 years. There was definitely a lot of love. I don't know exactly where it ended up with his family, but I know he has nothing to do with them at the moment. He lives in Italy. He's completely disconnected.
The reports were that Gianni did provide for him. He left him with an allowance of, I think, $30,000 a month and the ability to live in any of Gianni's homes. I mean, they were life partners.
It's not the case.
And it did not, the family did not stand by it and challenged it.
They had a very free love.
Yes, they did.
They were very open-minded,
yes.
And hey, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. But one thing that Antonio had, every time they came to talk bad about Antonio, Gianni would get so angry. Don't you ever talk that about my man. I mean, 15 years is 15 years. It's not a summer love,
You two have love in your life and are a newlywed.
Oh, yeah.
Best wishes. Congratulations.
I'm so happy.
Everything seems to be going great for you. You've got this huge show in Vegas called All In.
All In.
In all of his spare time, philanthropist. And the work
Of
you've
course.
been doing for Puerto Rico, not to mention to stop child trafficking, but in Puerto Rico to help the people still suffering there has been amazing.
Unfortunately, half of the island is still without power. We're talking about 1.2 million U.S. citizens that have no electricity, no running water. Kids aren't able to go to school because of how devastating this hurricane was. But we're still raising funds and we're still working and we're going to build houses and we're going to take the kids off the streets because they need to go to school. And I must thank you. But I thank you guys. I thank you because you donated $5 here, $10 there, and we're almost up to $4.5 million. It's been amazing. But now, this is only the beginning. It's going to take a long time for Puerto Rico to go back to where it was because we don't want it to go back to where it was. We want it to be better than ever.
Better than ever.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Good luck with all of it. We'll see you in Vegas, we hope. Don't forget All In as well. And
March.
The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story, premieres tonight.
Yeah.
On FX. Ricky, thank you.
No, thank you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.